So I'm going to start just by talking a little bit about what I'm doing and how I started in education. I've been teaching for 17 years, and all of my teaching experience has been in kindergarten through second grade, and also in the charter school realm. I started teaching at a little charter school in Asheville. It really wasn't a conscious choice. I interviewed everywhere in Asheville, and that's where I got a job. Evergreen Community Charter School was opening its doors that year, and they took a chance on a 21-year-old novice teacher. And so that's where I started, and that's where I learned to be a teacher. And I taught there for 10 years, and then I took a couple of years off and had some children. And then a charter school that was near my house had an opening in kindergarten, and I ended up interviewing for it and getting a job at Francine Delaney, which is where I am currently. And Francine Delaney is a charter school in the city of Asheville, and it's a teacher-powered charter school, which means that we do not have any administration. It's completely teacher-run, and I have been there for the last 9 years, 9 years. And I'm loving it and have learned so much. And there's lots of opportunity for leadership, obviously, with a teacher-powered school. We have about 177 students, K through 8, so it's one class per grade, so it's a very small school. It's intentionally small, it's in our charter, and it's intentionally in the city of Asheville because we wanted to serve a diverse population of students. We offer transportation and free and reduced lunch services to students, and have a very diverse population, with about 44% of our students being using free and reduced lunch services. So a teacher-run school, I'm going to talk a little bit about that, and then I'm going to share some slides with you. We have 15 full-time teachers. We call them directorate members, and we all come together weekly and with weekly meetings, and we share the leadership at the school. So we also have what's called an executive council, which is made up of 6 of our directorate members. And this is a rotating position, and it's 2 years, a 2-year position. And we all take turns rotating on and off the executive council. And we have a whole schedule for it. So there is no hierarchy at our school. It's completely run by teachers, and we all take turns. The executive council does have final say on things and does take care of like parent issues and if we had any human resources issues or teacher issues. And they also sit on the board of directors as well, with parents and community members. And but we all take turns doing that position. So teachers are involved in all the decision-making, budget, curriculum, facilities. We're in the middle of building on a building right now. So the reason I chose to pursue a master's in teacher leadership is because I teach one of the reasons is because I teach at a teacher-run school, and I'm a trained teacher, and I'm a really good teacher. I've been doing it a long time, and I have a lot of teacher training, and but I didn't feel like I had all of the leadership skills that I wanted to have, because I don't think necessarily teachers, when they're getting training or when they're in school, that's necessarily one of the things that they're learning about. So I sought out this program because I wanted to learn how to be a better leader, and learn about facilitation and adult learning, and how to collaborate better and be an active listener, and all of those things were things I wanted to learn more about. And all the things that I'm learning is directly related to my job. I use lots of the things that I'm learning in it. So now I'm going to just kind of take you through my personal leadership story, and I'm going to share some of my favorite resources and some of my biggest takeaways with you. So just give me a minute to share my screen. Okay, so the first thing I want to share about is strengths, and knowing my strengths and working to leverage other strengths is one of the biggest leadership lessons or takeaways that I've gotten, and through my years and through this program. it's very important for you to know yourself and what your strengths are so that you can start seeing strengths in others and you can leverage those strengths. You want to be looking for people who have the strengths that you don't have to put on your team, so that you can collaborate and learn from each other, and so that you're stronger. And so one of the things that we did in our Masters of Teachers of Leadership is that we read the book StrengthsFinder 2.0, and we took the StrengthsFinder and we learned about what strengths that we have. And it also kind of shows you the strengths that you're missing. So I know that some of the things that I'm missing are like the strategic thinking and looking for details and things. So every time I'm working on something, I know that I'm looking for those strengths in others, and I want to put those people on my team, and I know who those people are at my school, and I work with them and know that I want them working with me because it's something that I need. It's something that I weaken. It's something I want to learn to do better. So what are your strengths? I think like as a leader, like finding out what you are good at and recognizing that as others is a really important skill to have. So leaders are constantly thinking about how to leverage the strengths in others with your students and with your colleagues and with your parents and all of the areas. The next area that I wanted to talk about was just articulation and how important it is that teachers talk about their practice. We are the voice for our students. It's important that we learn as leaders to articulate what it means to be a teacher. What do our students need? We are the people that know best what our students need. We are the link between policymakers, and we know what's best for students in learning. And so articulating our practice is a form of advocating for our colleagues and our students and for the profession. So I'm constantly trying to find ways to articulate my practice with my parents, articulate my practice with administration, even though we don't have that at our school, others might. That would be it's really important for leaders at our schools that are not in the classroom, working directly with students to articulate what it means to be in the classroom, articulate what students need, what they're doing. On social media, telling stories, sharing articles, responding to policymakers about different things that are coming up. It's all really important for us to articulate in those platforms as well. And with policymakers, and having coffee with the policymakers or inviting a policymaker into your classroom and articulating what it means to be a teacher and what students are needing and what's happening in the classroom. So making the implicit explicit for them. Why are we making the decisions that we do? Always elevating the profession and advocating for students and teachers. So that's articulating my practice is something that I've been working on as a leader and through this master's program as well. The next thing would be to talk about is advocacy. And advocacy and articulation go hand in hand. One of the best resources I know for teacher advocacy is the book How to Be Heard by Celine Coggins. And I've linked her book in my final slide, so I'll share that. But she talks about the 10 lessons that every teacher should know to advocate for the profession and for students. And the biggest lesson, the biggest takeaway for me when reading her book was that there are no experts. And she says that you want to stay focused on your niche and to find your passion and to learn all you can about that passion and that niche. We can't be experts on everything. There's just too many things. So finding the specific thing that you really want to advocate for and that you're really passionate about. I often struggle as a teacher and as a leader with feeling overwhelmed and scattered. And her book really helped me focus and reflect on what issues are important to me and to find others that are experts on similar topics or different topics, and talk with them, have conversations, and ask lots of questions. So advocacy is a really important thing, and it can be overwhelming, but her book really helped break it down and give specific strategies on how to do that. My next slide is about making your leadership map. So What are your goals? What are your leadership goals? And I always think when you have goals that having a map or making them visible is really important. I have my goals written in my journal. I sometimes write goals on my bathroom mirror. Anything that I'm trying to strive for and work for, I want to see it all the time. So my leadership map, these are some of my short and long-term goals that I have that I'm trying to work towards. So improving my role as a leader and facilitator at my school. I've taken on the role as a facilitator at all of our directorate meetings. So I plan and I organize the agenda and I communicate the agenda and I talk with all the parties involved on things that would need to present at the directorate meeting. And I make sure things run smoothly at our meetings, and it's a big responsibility, and it's something that I've really wanted to do well. And so I wanted to improve in that skill. Testing roles and protocols to consider. So getting to know more protocols and systems that would help make things more efficient for my colleagues when we're working in PLCs or in our grade level teams or even in directorate. So always looking for like a protocol or a system that we can put into place that will help with communication. Connecting with my online community with Teacher Powered Schools. That's a resource that I've helped bring to our school, and it's a resource I utilize, and making sure that I connect with them and utilize all the resources they have available, and connect my other colleagues with them as well. I would like to write an article about being a Teacher Powered Schools to publish at some point. I don't know where that would be, but that's a goal of mine. I'd like to do a little bit more writing and more publishing. And I'd like to attend the NSTOY National Conference to present on being a teacher-led professional. And that's something that I did last summer, and I'd like to do it again this summer. So just keeping your leadership map always at hand. And this is ever changing, like it's gonna be fluid, right? You're gonna meet some of your goals and take them off and add more. But I think it's really important to make them visible and to talk to your people about your goals, tell other people about what you're trying to do, and communicate it. My next slide is about this is my favorite book and resource about leadership. It's called The Multiplier Effect. And in this book, it's about how to attract top teachers to your school, how to create an intense environment that demands people's best thinking, how to drive sound decisions by constructing debate and decision-making forums, and how to give your team a sense of ownership and responsibility and results. My big takeaways from this book were, I wanted to create a holding tank for ideas that need action, especially during our directorate meetings. So I've created a doc that I highlight these things on our agenda about these are the things that we really need to take action on, and I prioritize. That was something that came from that book. I tend to sometimes over-contribute, and I think as leaders, this is something I'm learning. Like as leaders, sometimes we need to not contribute and listen more. And so it's a goal of mine to try to be very concise and not over-contribute and really just say it once. So I'm really trying to, I have that saying written in my journal at the top, like just say it once, don't over-contribute and listen more. A question that I'm always thinking about is, and asking others is, how do you think we should solve it? So leaders don't always have to have the answer. We don't always have to know how to solve every problem, but we need to be able to leverage other people's strengths and leverage other people to come up with solutions to problems and put our heads together and brainstorm together. So asking the question, how do you think we should solve it? Also staying in sight, not pulling ahead. I can sometimes be really quick to take action because I'm a doer and I want to get things accomplished. But as a leader, I need to make sure that I'm not overdoing and I stay in sight of other people, and I take time and I take the time to listen and let others lead and let others do, and not be too quick to do that. Another goal that I had and takeaway from the book was to set a waiting period before responding. So if I get an email or if I'm asked to do something that I'm unsure of, just to set put a set aside time, put a set amount of time in front of me and say, I'm going to wait and I'm going to give it till this much time to think about it. I want to think about my response so that it's thoughtful, instead of just responding right away or being reactive about something. And the last takeaway I had was to acknowledge the struggle. What we're like when we come and put our heads together as colleagues and there's a problem, that just acknowledging that what we're doing is hard. And so sometimes just being a leader means acknowledging things being hard and saying that out loud. So this book is, I feel like, a must-have as a teacher leader, and the link will be at the end as well, and I'll share that. But then my next slide is about a professional learning network. Who are your people? So this is my professional learning network, and it's made up of a network of organizations, of my niche groups and my buddies and mentors. The network consists of my leadership heroes, my communities for collaboration, and my buddies that support and that I trust, that I go to, like, to help me get through something or read something for me or support me in an endeavor. So I love teacher collaboration, and I feel like one of the biggest parts of being a leader is being a really good collaborator and drawing people together and talking to them. And when I first went to my school that I'm currently at, Francine Eleni, it was I wasn't used to being at such a small school, and it just had one class per grade. So I didn't have another kindergarten teacher to talk to about what they were doing and to collaborate with, and that was really hard for me. So I ended up making or organizing a group of kindergarten teachers from all around Asheville. It was about 6 teachers that came together, and there were teachers from regular public schools, and there were teachers from other charter schools, just teachers that I had, that I knew from being a teacher. And so we got together, we organized a meeting once a month, and we got together and we talked about, struggles and students and parent struggles and questions and shared resources and curriculum. And it was such a great resource for me. And it was so needed because I felt kind of alone at my new school, and I didn't know anybody, and I didn't have another kindergarten teacher to collaborate with. And this group of people became my lifelong friends, and they're all on my buddy list, and they're still people that I talk to and collaborate with and call when I have a question or need support. And a lot of us ended up doing our national boards together in 2010. So it's just really important to find your people as leaders and as teachers, to have those people that you can trust and count on. Brianna Crowley is on my list as one of my teacher leader heroes. And she wrote an article about 3 ways to create your professional learning network and how to do this. And I linked her article in there, and she kind of talks about a really, really easy structure on how to create this. And I think it's really important to have, and it's really important to revisit, and it changes, and you add people to this. But these are all your people, and everybody needs their people to draw on. So my last slide is just a little call to be brave. Ask questions. As leaders, you don't have to know all the answers. It takes bravery and transparency and vulnerability to be a leader. Be honest about what you don't know, and show up for your family and your friends and your students and your colleagues. Be there for them. Let yourself be seen. Show your weaknesses and be vulnerable. And actively listen closely to your colleagues and to your parents and to your other teachers, and look for strengths in others so that you can leverage those and learn about your own strengths.